This is a powerful way to work with the thoughts that inevitably arise any time you try to meditate and be mindful. Learning the skill of breaking a thought trance can be invaluable as a step towards mindfulness and also in preparation for being able to snap out of a panic or anxiety loop if you're ever in real danger. Breath awareness, or watching your breath, is hands down one of the most efficient anti-anxiety mindfulness tools ever. Remember this. It's where you want to go first if anything is more than you can handle. So practice it now, practice it often, so that it becomes an immediate safe haven for you whenever and wherever you might need one. And for these purposes of noticing your thoughts, it's also a great one because when you focus on your breath, it's very likely to be interrupted briefly on numerous occasions with stray thoughts. Bring your attention to your breath now, and as you do, notice the sensations of rising and falling with each breath you take. Perhaps you notice a sensation of coolness as the breath enters through your nose. And then stay with the breath as it moves through you, trying to follow it through each complete cycle, starting at your nose until your lungs are almost full, and then following it through all the way as you exhale out. Continue focusing on your breath, the sensations, and then staying with the breath, each breath as it comes, all the way through to completion. As you continue to do this, focusing on every breath as it comes, before long you'll probably notice some thoughts dropping in. As soon as you become aware of a thought beginning to take form, give it a label. You don't need too many categories here, but here are a few ideas to consider as you go through the process of just labeling your thoughts. They could be judgers or mind readers, planners, daydreamers, fantasies, self-doubters, criticizers, or what-ifs. Just pick a couple of categories that seem to apply to the sorts of thoughts that you suspect may arise for you most frequently. Focus on each full breath as you've done before all the way through, but now each time the mind wanders onto a thought, as soon as you notice that, silently and quietly just label it and bring your attention back to the breath and its cycle. Don't let this labeling get too complicated. It's just a mental note, a tag. Focus on your breath pattern, and then, if a thought arises, name it and go back to your breath. Don't evaluate the thought. Really, you just want to see it long enough to give it a label, to touch it gently with the thought and the label, and then go back to the very next breath that comes. Do it with a light touch, so whenever you notice a thought, slightly know what it is and bring your attention back to your breath. If you were to notice that a particular thought pattern repeats and comes back over and over, you could make up a special label for that kind of thought, like today's playlist. You could come up with your own names for these thoughts, since you're really the expert on them. You could do the oops, I did it again, or the seriously, or a nobody cares about me, or an I wish label. The idea here isn't so much to stop your mind from generating thoughts, because that's impossible, but rather to really notice where your thinking goes. Don't get lost in it, thinking and thinking about your thinking. Just see it Label it and bring back gently your attention to the very next breath that comes. The particular labels you use aren't critical. The idea is to be aware of your present experience and be in the present as thoughts arise, not in the past, not in the future. As you use thought labeling to be more aware of what's happening in your thinking process, you'll notice how thoughts bring you away from mindfulness. Continue relaxing, breathing mindfully, and doing thought labeling as long as you wish, by going right back to the very next breath and trying to stay with it as long as you can. Whenever you're ready, go back to focusing on following that very next breath that comes as it begins, as it builds and expands, and then flows all the way through to an exhale.